Welcome back to the channel, you guys. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. Well, I just have one question for you. Are you ready for the apocalypse? Yes, welcome back to the channel, you guys. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. Well, we've got a super cool guitar in the studio. This is the Schecter Apocalypse. Now, this was sent into the channel by Schecter, so huge thanks to those guys. Let's break it down and find out what this guitar is all about. Alright, so let's find out exactly what we're dealing with. Now, this is part of Schecter's Solo 2 body shape, which is obviously their single cut design. You guys know I'm a huge fan of the Solo 2 Custom. Absolutely love that guitar in the $800 to $900 range. That's one of my favorite instruments. So this feels very much at home because it is that same shape, but it's got some really unique features. So what exactly makes this guitar unique? Well, let's dive in and check out some of the features that kind of make this guitar stand out from the crowd. Of course, I will link to it in the video description below for full specs, but let's hit up some of the highlights. Number one, we've got a swamp ash body, which is not very typical on single cut guitars. It's got this beautiful kind of grayed out finish, very thin so you can feel kind of the grain come through it. Just looks absolutely fantastic. And I've got to say, this is one of the lightest single cut guitars I've ever played. It came in just over 7 pounds. I mean, if I get a Strat that's 7 pounds, I'm pretty pumped. That's a light guitar. And this is a single cut. So very light and very resonant, which is awesome. And of course, we've got, a nice little contour here, belly cut here. So, pretty ergonomic. And of course, the glue-in neck joint. So swamp ash body, very cool. On the neck, we've got that same gray finish, and it's maple and Paduke neck. And I'll take a shot here for you guys, but it looks phenomenal. Like those little blood red stripes up against the gray just looks fantastic. So that's the neck, maple and Paduke, and swamp ash body. Now, as for the front side, well, you guys probably already noticed, we've got an ebony fingerboard with those Roman numeral inlays. So there it is, kind of a nice jet black ebony fingerboard and those really gothic, aggressive looking Roman numeral inlays. So that's another way that kind of makes the Apocalypse really stand out. And of course, then moving on to the body, you get this really interesting paint job. I'll take some shots in various lights for you guys so you can actually see what it looks like. But yeah, it kind of just matches that kind of black gray from the back and just kind of brings that to the headstock and to the body. So very unique finish for sure. And the other thing is matte black hardware. Again, you don't always see that on a guitar. So tuning machines, tailpiece, bridge, it's all matte black, which is pretty cool. And the other thing that you might not be able to see from here is the clear pickup bobbins. So when you take a close-up look, you can actually see the windings through the pickups. And these are, I think, the Apocalypse 6 pickups. So pretty aggressive pickups. So that's kind of like what makes this guitar unique and stand out from the crowd. It's got some really, very aggressive looks to it. So we're gonna have to plug it in and test it out. All right, so that was just a quick taste of the bridge pickup. Sounds absolutely fantastic for chugging and riffing. Sounds really good. Let's try the same thing with the neck pickup, a little riffing. Now we're mostly going to be focusing on, the dirty tones, but I gotta mention, if we go over to the clean channel, we're using the Mezzabarba amp here, this guitar actually has coil splits, which is not typical for a guitar like this. So if you just pull out on the tone control, it actually goes into a coil split mode. So let's just try some clean tones. We'll start up on the neck pickup and, see what it sounds like. Now I gotta say, that's actually surprisingly chimey. Let's try both together, see what that sounds like. So I'm not sure how often that feature will get used, but I love that, Schecter includes it. Whether people use it or not, it's nice to have that versatility, as I mentioned, on a guitar like this, which is mostly going to be played with high gain. All right, so let's go over to channel 2 on the Mezzabarba and check out some of the tones there in the bridge. So that's like a typical kind of heavy rock tone, or kind of like heavier classic rock. Sounds pretty great. All right, let's go back to channel 3 here. Yeah, tons of sustain, sounds fantastic. Let's boost that channel and see what that sounds like. All right, so now that we've checked out some tones, let's talk about the playability, ergonomics, overall construction, that kind of stuff. Now, first things first, this guitar is just extremely light. So impressed with that. Of course, this is just one example. So, you know, there's no guarantees that every guitar will be this light, but very impressed with the weight. Now also, because the body was so light, I was kind of expecting this guitar might headstock dive pretty bad. We do have locking tuners on the back, which is fantastic, but it does add a bunch of weight. So I was thinking, well, light body, pretty big headstock with locking tuners, we might get some serious dive. And as long as you kind of keep it on your leg, well, it's totally fine. So very impressed with that as well. If you want to play on the middle of your body or whatever, definitely strap it up just so that it holds it in that position. But if you're just going to put it on your leg, totally fine, no dive. So that is great. And of course, we've already looked at the back, but we've got a big belly cut here. Very comfortable for a single cut. This little scoop right here, so when you're playing up high, yeah, there's no digging in. And this one here kind of goes like, you know, under the radar, but it's really helpful. It just kind of takes that sharp edge, and as you set it on your leg, just gives you a little bit of a soft contour. So those contours are really appreciated. So the weight, the balance, and the comfort cuts are excellent on this guitar, especially considering it is a single cut. It's very comfortable to play. Now, in terms of other areas of playability, let's talk about the fretwork. Not a hint of grittiness on any of the frets, all the way up to, you know, the upper frets. The front faces have been really nicely polished up, so it plays really well. Now, when we zoom in on the fret ends, you can see there's a few file marks on the ends, but nothing that will hold you back or that you will feel. Overall, they're polished and rounded really nice, even up to the upper frets. So that is great to hear. So it's very comfortable when you're sliding in terms of this part of your hand and your thumb, if you're muting or just like to hang your thumb over the top of the neck. So no issues there. We've got a Graphtec nut, cut really nice, as you would expect. These Schecters that are made in South Korea are kind of like the higher end Schecters, and every single one that I've tested has been very well made. So no exception there, and this nut hasn't been binding, which means, you know, when you do your big bends and stuff, it just comes back into tune. So that is phenomenal. And other than that, you know, getting features like a coil split, even though these pickups are very aggressive and they are kind of designed to be like quite high output pickups, it's still nice to see features like, you know, a coil split. I don't know how often, you know, it'll get used, but it's just one of those features that is nice to have on your guitar. So little things like that are really appreciated. So here are my final thoughts. Well, if you play rock or metal, I say bring on the apocalypse. This guitar is just about perfect for those styles. It certainly plays the part in terms of how it looks with, you know, the blood red finish, the grayed out back, the Padauk stripes, all of those things kind of just give it a very aggressive look. You know, the matte hardware, the Roman numeral inlays, it looks the part, certainly, and it sounds the part. But when you kind of dig a little bit deeper, you find just a great guitar. So, you know, even though it looks really aggressive, I do think this guitar could play pretty much any style, and it's just super fun to play. It's well made. Like I said, it's light, it balances. That's half the battle when you buy an instrument. You know, you don't want to necessarily be fighting it constantly or, you know, working extra hard to play. This one just plays really nice. The neck profile, the flat fingerboard, the big frets, you know, if those are things that are on your checklist, this guitar is going to check them off. So really easy to play, you know, when I was soloing and stuff like that, the slides, the bends, the taps, all came very easily, which is what I like in a guitar. So even though, yes, it definitely is purpose built for metal, I think it can go beyond that into, you know, rock genres and stuff like that. So those are my final thoughts. It's a cool guitar. I've never seen really anything like this before. And as I mentioned, a huge fan of the weight, the balance, and the playability. So those are my final thoughts on the Apocalypse. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to do so. Hit the bell to be notified when new videos go up. Other than that, all the information on the guitar, gear I use, tab store, t-shirt store, all that stuff is down in the video description below. Other than that, have yourself a great day.